Hi all, I'm Jane Barratt, MX's Chief Advocacy Officer, and I want to welcome you to our first product forum in 2022. Data-driven innovations have completely changed the financial services industry in the last decade. People now have more choices than ever for how they choose to manage their finances, and we're seeing an increase in the number of financial apps that they're connecting to do so. More permissioned financial data also means more opportunities for financial institutions and fintechs to create products and services that help people achieve their financial goals. In today's session, we'll hear from Daniel Haisley, Executive Vice President of Innovation at Apiture, and Lauren Flickinger, the Product Director at Truebill. They'll share how they're delivering services to make the financial lives of customers easier and their perspective on the value of an open financial ecosystem. We'll also get to hear from David Whitcomb, Vice President of Product at MX. He'll share our product approach to open finance and vision for the future as MX makes financial data accessible and actionable for everyone. But first, I'd like to start with a question. I want all of you to think about, what does open finance mean to your organization? Think about your answer as we walk through the evolution of open finance and see if your answer changes by the end of the session. Here in the States, we've all heard about open banking, but how does it differ from open finance? The two are related, but very different. In practice, open banking allows consumer permission data and services to flow between banks and third-party providers, but generally it only applies to retail banking accounts. Open finance, on the other hand, applies to the broader ecosystem and not just retail banking. While other parts of the world, like Australia, Japan, and the UK, have been regulating open banking for some time now, we're beginning to see some regulatory movement here in the US that may apply to this broader open finance ecosystem. The Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, or CFPB, will soon codify a consumer's right to access their financial data. Until now, access to consumer data, along with technical standards, disclosures, security processes tied to the data, have primarily been left up to the organizations involved, including data recipients, often meaning the fintech applications, data intermediaries, such as MX, and data providers, who are often the financial institutions. With this approach, open finance puts the consumer in control of their data. Think about what this will mean. How many of us have granted access to a new service using our Gmail or Facebook credentials because we didn't want to remember another username and password? Can you even remember who you've given your information to? And did you read all of those disclosures on what information that company is accessing? The answer is probably no. And then, to your surprise down the road, you're notified that your data is part of a data breach for a service provider you no longer use or don't even remember connecting your Gmail or Facebook account to. Now, imagine this is your financial account information. Open finance APIs mitigate risk to consumers, financial institutions, and fintechs by removing those credentials from the financial ecosystem. A 2021 survey by Deloitte found that nearly 70% of consumers said that financial service providers need to place a greater emphasis on data protection. What's more, a recent survey that we commissioned at MX showed that 60% of people want to see advanced identity protection from their financial services providers. Open finance improves security and reduces risk. Consumers don't have to share their username and password to connect their accounts. And aside from the obvious security benefits of open finance, you're probably wondering why else open finance matters. Just as open banking provides secure access to information within a traditional bank account, open finance does so for information held in other financial accounts, like investment accounts or tax or insurance. Open finance opens up the potential for innovation and personalized experiences. People want the convenience of accessing a wide variety of products and services, which is why the average person has 6.5 financial accounts across different providers, whether it's for debt consolidation or money management, refinancing a loan. People will shop around for the most competitive rates and seamless customer experience. For financial services providers, data sharing provides the ability to effectively scale and serve account holders. Open finance best practices and APIs allow financial institutions to operate more securely and more efficiently. It can make connecting accounts and sharing data more seamless and frictionless with modern tokenized connections. Removing credentials altogether ensures that more reliable connections won't break when usernames and passwords are updated. This creates a better experience and drives down your call center volume. Account holders won't be calling in when balances aren't loading, for example, and maybe they're less likely to shop around for a new financial service provider to meet their expectations if connections are failing. People want to know where they stand financially to be able to make more informed decisions on whether to buy a new car or if they can afford to buy a home rather than renting. Open Finance allows a broader look into a customer's financial history and current behaviors. For them, this means digestible information, autonomy, and optionality. For financial services providers, this means actionable, data-driven insights to better meet expectations and the ability to iterate over time. Open Finance allows for the democratization of data. You hear this phrase all the time, but what does it really mean and why does it matter? In a closed financial system, a customer cannot access and permission the secure sharing of their data with any other third parties. Now, this worked when there was a limited scope of functions that institutions provided. With Open Finance, it's the exact opposite. People can access their data and share it, or not, with third parties of their choosing. Choice creates options, which drives competition, and eventually, market players will be competing on whose product or service can provide the best outcomes for a customer. For example, if a financial services provider can predict that someone is going to go into overdraft based on their current balance and a recurring bill that's coming up on autopay, wouldn't it be great to sweep funds from another account if they're available, or send an alert to that person letting them know that a bill is about to be paid and the amount might be more than what's currently available in their account? We can save people time and help reduce their stress and financial burden by providing these powerful insights. And now I'm thrilled to introduce two organizations who will share their perspectives on the benefits of open financial data and how we can work together within the financial ecosystem to deliver a better customer-centric experience. Please join me in welcoming Daniel Haisley, the Executive Vice President of Innovation at Apiture, and Lauren Flickinger, the Product Director at Truebill.
Thanks, Jane. If we take a step back and take stock of the financial services landscape in the US, there's a litany of narratives which emerge, and we can think of them as individual vignettes in the greater story of the fight for the financial attention of consumers and small businesses, where we've had big banks competing with small banks, credit unions competing with all the banks, and chartered financial institutions competing with non-chartered fintechs, all strewn across what was designed to be a very fragmented marketplace where the ammunition to compete is often relegated to either better rates or via differentiating feature functionality. But that said, if you look around, there's so little differentiating feature functionality, really. So why is that? So we've heard the kind of apocryphal story of the commissioner of the US Patent Office at the turn of the 19th century who made the dubious claim that everything that can be invented has been invented. Well, that's clearly not true in the financial services space, if indeed any space. There's no shortage of ingenuity. Instead, our view is that the real barrier to entry is the challenge of integration. Every core, every digital banking provider, every bill pay provider, every ERP system, every third party, which makes up this vast financial services ecosystem, and there are thousands. They all speak different languages, if you will. The data and protocols required to interconnect these systems are bespoke to each and every connection. This makes bringing new innovative applications to market very challenging, and particularly disincentivizes a service provider from giving first mover advantage to community institutions, given that those community institutions are inherently going to have fewer users to bring to the platform. Fewer users equals less revenue equals less funding. So add to that the fact that all the consistencies, or all of these inconsistencies drive a great deal of opaqueness and what's actually happening to my data as an end user. So where is it actually going? For what purpose? Who's benefiting from my data other than me? Open banking is upending that narrative entirely. So by adopting standards for how systems interoperate, open banking fuels a proliferation of service providers as implementation made materially easier and ultimately serves to better level the playing field and letting value be determined through natural market forces as opposed to through exclusion. The cream can rise to the top when the filters are removed. And we're not going out on a limb, so we've seen this movie before vis-a-vis the European and Asian Pacific markets where standards have already been established and yielded a subsequent explosion of fintechs. At Apiture, we've got a number of open banking initiatives driving value for our financial institutions and their customers. Now, generally, we look at open banking as a journey. And the first step in that journey for financial institutions is readying their data to be made available through standardized connections. So one such initiative on our end is our work with MX to give our FI clients greater insights into where and how their customers are sharing information by funneling all third-party and aggregator traffic through the FDX-enabled service access. While giving the bank greater insights, it also gives end users an even greater level of security as their usernames and passwords aren't being handled by any third parties. It's directly between them and their bank. Once data has been standardized and made available via APIs, this really opens doors for financial institutions to get creative. Another way we're unlocking tremendous value with our clients is to help them extend their banking services out through non-bank service providers via embedded banking using a library of drop-in web components. In this way, financial institutions are able to proactively reach new swaths of potential customers where those customers are already in practice management solutions and ERP software and rideshare apps and employee benefits applications and on and on and on. It's a new frontier for financial institutions. And overall, we look to see use cases continue to evolve and avail themselves. This is an area in which we hold very strong beliefs around the principles of helping financial institutions better serve their consumers and small businesses. Open banking is the backbone upon which the financial service innovation is being built every single day. With that, I'll hand it over to Lauren.
Thanks, Daniel. At Truebill, our mission is to empower millions of people to live their best financial lives. And you can't do that unless you have the democratization of financial data. We really think about this in a couple pillars. The first is empowering consumers. We really believe that people will make more informed and better financial decisions about their future if they have visibility into what's going on. This means that their data has to be complete, it needs to be real time, it needs to be accurate. We saw this where we started in 2016 with helping people identify subscriptions that they didn't know that they were paying for. And then what we find is as our members are seeing this data, they're starting to make those connections between their everyday choices and a longer term plan or where they want to be. So for example, when someone cancels a subscription for Netflix that they no longer need, we can encourage them to get into a savings product where they can start to build an emergency fund. The second pillar for us is really around user experience. We hear time and time again that finances are scary, they're overwhelming. There's a lot of trauma that goes into finances from folks' past. And so people are really just nervous. And so at Truebill, it's really important to us that we're presenting information to our members that is easily accessible, that feels friendly, that doesn't feel overwhelming. And this isn't available in your kind of core banking apps. And like Daniel talked about, innovation can really be achieved by these startups in the fintech space because they have access to all of this data in a way that wasn't available in the past. The last piece that's really important for us towards our mission is giving people faster access to credit and to really take into consideration the whole individual. So we've seen this recently in the home buying space where on-time rental payments are now being considered as part of underwriting. And we really believe that there's a lot more that goes into an individual than just their credit score. We can look at their spending habits. We can really get a full understanding of who this person is. And in the credit space, we're thinking about things like credit builder loans, where people can build their credit history and have a nest egg at the end so they can really set themselves up for the future. We really believe that by having more access to credit and having more options and taking into account, really the full picture of someone, that we're going to be building stronger families, stronger communities, and ultimately stronger economies.
Thank you so much, Daniel and Lauren. It's so great to see this level of innovation coming out of our industry. Next up, we're going to hear from David Whitcomb. He's going to share how MX is powering the open finance economy through products such as MX Access, MX API, and MX Data. Over to you, David.
Thank you, Jane. And thank you, Daniel and Lauren. As you just heard, improving customer experiences are essential. They're essential because consumers want more when it comes to their finances, more from their financial accounts, and more from their providers. They want a more unified and complete picture of their finances. In fact, 90% of people said it would be valuable to see their finances in one place. However, only 40% said they could currently do it, according to an MX survey. They want better insights into their finances. 2/3 of consumers expect their bank or credit unions to know, understand, and reward them. But only 34% of consumers feel their bank or credit union treating them as individuals, according to Salesforce. And they want a more secure and reliable experience with their money. More than 80% of consumers in North America connect their bank accounts to fintech apps, and 90% use online and mobile financial applications to manage their money, according to MasterCard's The Rise in Open Banking report. As Jane said earlier, open finance means that companies, financial and otherwise, can build and offer solutions that help them understand and manage their financial lives better. Financial institutions can collaborate with various providers to deliver a wide variety of services to their customers based on consumer data. Fintechs and other third parties gain a broader and more accurate basis upon which to create consumer-centered financial technologies outside of the financial institution. Consumers have more choice and control over the data they share and how they engage with their finances. And they gain unparalleled access to a broader range of products and financial services. MX defines open finance as the availability for everyone to access and act on financial data. This helps financial institutions and fintechs make intelligent decisions, build personalized experiences, discover new business models, support financial wellness, and mitigate fraud and risk. Yet today's financial services industry remains largely closed. It does not support secure and reliable data sharing. According to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, financial providers can only access 10 to 20% of a consumer's financial picture. 47% of connections fail when consumers attempt to link their accounts, and 41% of connections fail when consumers try to connect to the top 10 financial institutions. With the average consumer possessing 2 to 3 banking applications, 3 to 4 fintech apps, and 6 to 7 financial accounts across institutions, this is a problem, and we as an industry can do better. MX powers the open finance economy by unlocking the value of financial data. We're building the largest open finance ecosystem to help drive innovation and improve experiences with the most trusted and reliable open finance APIs. The MX open finance ecosystem already connects more than 13,000 financial institutions and fintechs, with a combined reach of more than 200 million consumers. And we do that with solutions like MX Access. MX Access is an open finance API platform that improves the data sharing experience between financial institutions, third parties, and ultimately the consumer. Built on FDX standards, it provides the ability to monitor and manage where customers are sharing their financial data. And it provides the tools to implement a more secure data sharing experience with modern token-based connectivity. MX Access connections are reliable. They receive data 10 to 20 times faster, in most cases under 5 seconds, with a greater than 95% success rate. MX Access is offered as a hosted platform for organizations that want more control of their open finance strategy. It's also offered as a multi-tenant solution for digital banking providers to offer to their network of institutions. MX Access is accelerating open finance's adoption in North America. But what good is a banking API if no one is using it? That's where the MX APIs come into play. MX APIs deliver fast, reliable, and secure APIs for connecting and verifying financial data. This is achieved through a complete suite of connectivity and verification API solutions. MX leads the market in connected traffic going through tokenized and trusted connections, resulting in superior reliability and speed. This includes 10 direct OAuth connections with 9 of the top 15 financial institutions in the US, and that number is growing. The MX API's instant verifications helps organizations access the data they need to verify consumers' name, accounts, balances, and more. MX's verification solutions help you better manage fraud and risk, maintain regulatory compliance, and improve trust. Gaining access to financial accounts and verifying the associated data is only the first step. What you do with the data to add value matters more. MX Data makes financial data actionable with a comprehensive suite of data enhancement APIs for cleansing, classification, categorization, and additional metadata. Actionable data enables better financial decisions, experiences, and outcomes, from account opening, funding, and money movement, to analytic insights that can help expand the understanding of your underwriting risk, to building better products, discovering new revenue streams, and improving operational efficiency. For more than a decade, MX has developed one of the most sophisticated data engines in the industry, unlocking the value in financial data to power open finance. MX has processed over 170 billion transactions, averaging over 100 million transactions per day from over 2,100 organizations, providing a diverse array of transaction types. And we apply more patents than anyone in the market. The MX data engine cleanses 100% of transactions, categorizes greater than 95% of data with more than 95% accuracy on average, and can identify more than 11,600 merchants with clear merchant logos. Machine learning is used to help the MX data engine learn from similar transactions so it can handle new transactions for which no human-created rule exists. And as you can see, we take our responsibility as a trusted leader in open finance very seriously. Our ethical approach to data sharing and exchange is centered on consumer data protection, privacy, and consent. Unfortunately, not all data intermediaries can say the same. COVID-19 exposes their vulnerabilities and gaps. At MX, we are committed to enabling faster innovation with the industry's most secure and reliable APIs to access, activate, and innovate with financial data. As Jane stated earlier, our mission and technology strategy is firmly grounded in empowering the world to be financially strong. Empowering the world to be financially strong means creating better money experiences for all. MX was founded on this promise, and it remains our mission today. It drives how we build and how we think about design. Easy, fast, secure, and reliable. Better money experiences inform, guide, and protect consumers on their financial journeys, resulting in increased trust. So come build with us. Back to you, Jane.
Thank you, David, and thanks to all of you for joining today's session. Now, do you remember your original answer to what open finance means to you and your organization? After listening today, did your answer change at all? MX has developed an open finance assessment that can help you identify where you are in your organization's open finance journey and the steps that you can take to move forward. We've dropped a link to the assessment in the chat, and we'll be sharing it via email at the conclusion of today's session. I'm also excited to announce that we'll be hosting our annual Money Experience Summit on September 20th through the 22nd at the beautiful Snowbird Resort here in Utah. This is an incredible event where we bring together the brightest minds in the financial industry. So make sure to save the date, and we hope to see you all there. In the meantime, we look forward to partnering with you and working together to empower the world to be financially strong. Thanks, everyone, and goodbye.